Hello lovely people, welcome back to the farm at Freeworld, and today I've got an exciting update for you. I'm super pumped to share this. You may hear the cheeping behind me. Let's get a good look at this. Woo! Ka-ching, 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 that's all I hear. Or rather, not ka-ching, 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 like stuffing bills back in your pocket that you were gonna spend on eggs. With the soaring prices of eggs right now, this is cash money, folks. We're not only raising chicks for ourselves, but we're raising chicks for other people that we're gonna sell the actual bird to, and we're raising chicks to get to point of lay so that we can start selling their eggs to folks as well. These are all white leghorns, and we've got some ISA browns as well. With the soaring price of eggs right now, you've got to be thinking like I am, how do I afford eggs? You know, eggs have doubled. Some places they've tripled in price, it seems. There's been a huge increase in egg smuggling across the southern border. People going to Mexico to buy eggs and then bringing them back to the United States, because even though eggs in Mexico right now are more expensive than they were a year or so ago here, they're still cheaper. They're still cheaper than they are in the US. I've been sharing in the last couple of videos on shorts this huge discrepancy between the customer-facing website first available ship date on like Hoover's Hatchery and the actual ship date once you go to check out is gonna be like 3+ months, 3.5 months or more out. Today is February 8th as I'm recording this. I just uploaded a short, which you've probably already seen. If you haven't, go check it out, and go check out the short from the day before on February 7th. But the ship date hasn't changed between February 7th and today. It still says that you'll get chicks shipped to you yesterday, which, as we all know, you can't get something yesterday when it's today, but whatever. When you look at this website, you may think to yourself, oh, I can get chicks, no problem. I'll be able to get some chicks, you know, in a couple of months when I want to order them. So maybe you went on there like me to check to see what availability looks like. But you didn't actually put them in your cart and go to checkout to see if the during checkout process first available ship date was the same as the one that's showing up on the website. It's not February 7th, it's not February 8th, it's not next week, it's not March, April, or May that you'll actually get your chicks now. It's looking like, for some breeds, especially these, for the ISA Browns and the White Leghorns, you're not going to get these breeds until June 5th, 6th, 7th. They've got a supply there, so they are hatching, or they're planning on hatching for those dates. They're not hatching yet because it takes 21 days to hatch, but they are planning on hatching eggs for those dates, and those chicks have not yet been purchased. Here's a really important thing I got to let you know. I've been watching this for over a month. The ship date from when I ordered these guys to when I got them and now has only been increasing. It started out where you could get chicks out about a day, then it went to a couple of weeks, then it went to a month, then it went to a couple of months. Now we're out to 3.5+ months. Yesterday we were at just under 3.5 months. Now it's over 3.5 months. The lead time on when you're actually going to be able to get your chicks only continues to increase. Very misleading. I don't think anybody's misleading you on purpose. Please hear me out. I don't think that the hatcheries are conspiring against us to make us feel like, oh, the chicks are readily available. I think they're just so inundated with orders that they cannot catch up, right? They cannot update their website fast enough with the amount of orders that are coming in. That's what's going on. People are ordering these, and the people who look at that ship date on the product page for that animal, for that breed, are gonna say, oh, plenty of time. Apparently they're not running out. There's no shortage. They're going to have a rude awakening when they actually go to push that purchase button and they realize their chicks aren't coming for 3, 4, who knows, by then it may be next year before they get their chicks. I don't want you to run into that problem. If you are even thinking about ordering chicks, just go on there. You need to get your your order placed, now you shouldn't get charged until they ship. Call the company even. Call them to see if you can get your order in. And then, worst case scenario, you can cancel up to 24 hours before your order ships. As long as you cancel 24 hours before your order ships, it will get canceled and you will be able to get your money back. But if you don't go ahead and place your order now, if you don't pre-order, it may be May when you order, when you actually would think about ordering these, and you're not going to get chicks, maybe till next year, who knows? That's the thing, you don't know. So if you have even the thought of, maybe I want some chicks this year, go ahead, get your order in. If you don't get your order in now, there's no guarantee that you're getting chicks this year, or at least not till late this year. So here's the big question. Can you actually save money, or even possibly make money, raising your own chickens, gathering your own eggs for yourself or to sell to others? The answer is yes, and I'm going to prove it with a magical thing called math. Our plan for these chicks is threefold. First of all, we're going to raise them for ourselves because we have not had eggs over the winter. Still haven't been getting any eggs from our current small flock of egg layers. So first of all, we're raising them for ourselves. Second of all, we're raising some for other people. We've actually pre-sold a number of these. We're going to sell them as point of lay hens. Right now they're pullets, which means they haven't laid a single egg, and they won't until they're about 20 weeks old. But around 18, 19 weeks, I'm going to start advertising these, and we'll have extras to sell. We're going to sell probably about 60 or more of them, and then we'll keep 100 or more for ourselves. Why keep so many? Because they're going to lay an egg a day, just about. This is a white leghorn and ISA browns, really prolific egg layers. So why keep all the extras? Well, we also want to see if we can help people out, because egg prices are so high, and what they may not realize is they're not only paying for the egg, they're paying for the fuel costs. And because fuel costs have gone up, egg prices have also gone up, because most of your eggs don't come from the farm next door. They come from maybe out of state even, maybe way down the road in another county. How did they get from the egg production plant to the grocery store? It takes diesel, it takes gasoline, it takes a lot of other fuel sources, and you're paying for all of that. There's another huge reason why you're paying such high prices for eggs, and that's because last year, 57 million chickens, last year alone, 57 million chickens had to be killed or died because of the avian flu. That's a lot of birds. That's 57 million eggs a day that we are not seeing in the market right now. All of those birds had to be replaced, and so these big egg production companies, these plants, they are swooping in and grabbing up as many chicks as they can. And I don't blame them, they've got to recoup their losses. So in addition to the normal amount of chicks that they purchase and that they order every year, they're having to order more because of so many losses last year. So of course, no wonder we're seeing a shortage in chicks. No wonder we're seeing high prices in eggs. However, if a small farm here or there bought up 100 chicks, raised them to the point of lay, and then started offering those 100 eggs a day to their customers, to local folks, egg prices for those select people, at least, would be a lot lower. I can produce eggs for the first time. I can actually produce and sell eggs for less than you can get them from the grocery store, the gas station, wherever you're getting them from. Now, another thing that makes me really excited, and I think is so cool about this, is because we homeschool our children, we're going to use this as a project for them. This is actually going to be one of our children's businesses, and we're starting another business for the other two children. And these are going to help them get some experience, learn some life lessons, learn some lessons about business. We've already been doing business classes and teaching them what they need to know before they'd even start a business like this, so that down the road, when they want to start their own business, if they ever should want to do such a thing, they'll be equipped and ready to do that. But not only that, they'll actually have a business that they'll be able to run, Lord willing, and everything works out. They'll actually have a business that they can run, that they've been running since before they even graduated. So we don't only want to equip them with knowledge, we don't only want to equip them with experience, but we actually want them to be able to leave school with some sort of real world accomplishment. They'll actually be able to earn money for stuff they want to spend it on, but of course also so that they can save a good chunk of that for down the road. Come along, join me in the house. I've got some stuff up on the whiteboard that I want to show you, and we're going to walk you right through it. All right, folks, I've got here up on the board the true cost of raising chickens, egg-laying chickens specifically. We're going to go through this a step at a time, one line at a time, and I'm going to share with you what I've found. Based on all the math, it looks like you can actually save money raising your own chickens for eggs right now. Let's go through it. True cost of raising egg-laying chickens. We've got number one here. You're going to have to buy your chicks, so of course there's going to be that cost there. Now, if you're purchasing them from a hatchery like Hoover's Hatchery or McMurray Hatchery, I believe that there's a minimum of 15 chicks that you have to purchase at one time. You can mix and match, but you've got to get that minimum of 15 chicks to get them to ship them to you. One chick is $4.51 right now if you're buying something like a Leghorn or an ISA Brown. So that's what I'm working with here because that's what we've got. So $4.51 each, that's going to cost $67.65. Then you've got your feed at 40 cents a pound. So take your 15, divide it by 5, that's going to equal 3, so you're going to need 3 pounds a day to feed those chickens. That's going to be $1.20. That's going to be $1.20 a day. That sounds really good, right? That means it's going to cost you about $1.20 per dozen eggs that those chickens lay. The first 20 weeks of these birds' life, they're going to consume 20 pounds of feed each. So we factor that in, we take that times 15, and that's going to be 300 pounds. Now we've got 1/5 of a pound a day each for 28 days after that, just to give us kind of a buffer. They're supposed to start laying at 20 weeks, but what if they don't start laying for 24 weeks? So we're going to add another 28 days in there, give us another 4 weeks buffer. So altogether, to feed these birds for 24 weeks, to guarantee that they've started laying eggs. And some breeds don't start laying until well after that, but we've got 384 pounds, and we're just going to do the average of 40 cents a pound. It's about 40 cents a pound. You can feed them a lot better feed for a lot more, or you can feed them a lot cheaper. There's different ways around that. Times 40 cents, 384 pounds is going to cost you $153.60. Then you can't forget about the brooder, your lights, your supplies, your etc. I'm talking about grit, I'm talking about wood chips, I'm talking about your feeders, your waterers, all of your supplements. You know, you want to give these birds a good start, get them some vitamins, minerals to put in their water. That's really going to help them out, and that's going to be an investment into the investment you've already made. Doing that is just kind of like cheap insurance for the investment you've made. Give your birds the best start, and they're going to be laying you eggs in no time. Don't forget about electricity. That's something that we all forget about, and I'm just going to average it out to be about $1 a day that you're spending on electricity for these birds for the first 8 weeks, which is when they're going to most likely need heat and other things, but $56 a day. So that's going to come to a grand total of $377.25 that it's going to cost you to raise these 15 birds. Now, some of these costs are going to be the same whether you're raising 5 birds or 50 birds. For example, a brooder, the right size brooder, you can raise 50 birds in a particular size of brooder. So if you buy the size for just 15 birds, you're going to have to spend a little bit more for the 50 birds, but some of these prices are not going to change that much. Electricity is going to be about the same. Your feed costs are, of course, going to go up or down depending on how many chicks you actually have, so keep that in mind. But we're just working with this average of 15 chicks. However, this still is not the true cost of raising your own chickens. The true cost of raising chickens comes when you factor in your break-even point. The break-even point only comes once these chickens have laid enough eggs to repay you for the amount of money you've already stuck into them. So let's factor this in. They need to lay eggs if they're laying an egg a day, 15 of these birds, if they're laying almost an egg a day, so let's say you're getting 12 eggs a day, it's going to take them so long to lay enough eggs at $5 a dozen. We'll just say that's about the average that people are paying. Might be a little more, but about $5 a dozen. How many times does $5 go into $377.25? 377.25 divided by 5 is 75.45. So that means they're going to have to lay you 75 dozen eggs before you recoup your costs. And that's assuming the egg prices stay at about $5 a dozen, that they don't go up, but they don't go below that. So you're going to have to factor all of that in. If egg prices drop, now it's going to take even longer for you to reach the break-even point because you've got to go with the market. You might be wondering, how long is it going to take 15 birds to get me to 75.45 dozen? All right, now, if your birds are laying 12 eggs a day, you should have 12 eggs a day from 15 birds. We're going to divide 75.45 by 7, and that's going to give us 10.778 weeks. Assuming these birds lay 12 eggs a day, and the price of eggs is $5 a dozen, you're going to recoup your cost after they've been laying for 10.778 weeks, somewhere around there. Let's just say 11 weeks. So you're going to have to feed these birds out for 11 weeks. Continue feeding them, right? You can't stop feeding them. I mean, even after they've broken even, you've still got to keep feeding them, of course. You're continuing to feed these birds while they're still working on paying you back. That's $1.20 a day that you're feeding these birds over those 11 weeks until you actually break even. And this is the thing that nobody ever factors in as far as I've seen, but you've got to think about this. They're still working on paying you back, but you're still putting inputs of feed into them before they've actually paid you back. So you've got to figure that out. $1.20 a day times 11 weeks. So adding this additional feed cost onto the original $377.25 is going to give us a grand total of $469. So adding the original $377.25 to the additional $92.40 is going to give us a grand total of $469.65 that we're actually putting into these guys before we break even. And now it's only costing us $1.20 a day to get those 12 eggs. So we're going to divide this by those 15 birds to see what our total cost is. Now we're going to see that it's going to cost us in total a grand total of $31.31 per chicken. That's what we're spending on these chickens up front before they start really paying for themselves. But now, once they've started paying for themselves, remember, you're only spending $1.20. So it's going to take you a total of, so factoring this in, it's actually going to take a little over 13 weeks. So let's just say 14 weeks. 14 weeks before these chickens, after they've started laying, start paying for themselves. Add in the original 24 weeks, and now we're up to 48 weeks. You've had to raise these chickens, take care of them, gather their eggs before they begin to pay for themselves. So what you need to do is just count the cost, make sure that you're considering everything, and then you'll know for sure if this is something that you want to do. For us, it's definitely worth it, especially with the high egg prices right now and our ability to raise enough chickens to then turn around and sell some of those eggs. We're doing it at a little larger scale than maybe some people would, and we're obviously doing it at a much smaller scale than a lot of people would. Whether you're raising 15 chickens and you're keeping a dozen of those a week for yourself and you're selling the other 14 dozen, or you're just raising a handful that you got from Tractor Supply for yourself, or you're raising a bunch, it does add up. The math works out, and you can, with even the median range feed costs of 40 cents a pound, you can get it a lot cheaper than that, and you can spend a lot more. If you're willing to buy it in bulk, you can get it a lot cheaper. Even with the feed costs and everything considered, you can actually save money and even make money, make a decent profit. It's probably not going to be anything more than a side gig for most of us, but you can actually make a decent profit selling your own eggs. This has gotten me really excited. I'm not super excited that a whole bunch of people are paying way more for chicken eggs right now. However, I'll say this, it does kind of warm my heart to know that hopefully we'll be selling eggs and saving people a lot of money on those eggs versus what they're paying for those in the grocery store right now. So stay tuned, follow along for the rest of this adventure as long as we're on it. God bless you, take care, hug somebody. Everything is gonna be okay. Peace.